What's funny is before the podcast, I'm like, wow, we had so many inside jokes. I don't remember any of them. And you just gave me a list.
And I just
All right.
remember all of them. Wow. Glad to know our friendship meant something to you. So happy.
What? No. Whoa. Welcome back to the Corner Talks podcast. I have my good friend here.
How's it going, man? Happy to be back.
No, it shouldn't be about anything. Like, this is one life.
Yep, one life? Like, fucking do it.
My guy.
Like, she just got it. She totally understood it.
20 years old when I started just watching a lot of movies.
And it tells a story. I want to tell a story.
Very good friend from way back, Jessie Bompiani. How are you, Jessie?
I'm good. How are you? Wow, you nailed my last name. Good for you.
I'm Italian. Yeah, come on. I'm Italian. I know how to pronounce it. Do people pronounce it incorrectly?
Yeah, I get like every variation of like everything you could possibly think of, but my last name. So
wasn't your nickname Bomps at one time or no? Or am I just J-Bomb? Jessie Bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of
Bomps was, I don't know who even ever started that, but I hated it. And like years later, I'm on the subway and who did I bump into? I don't know. I bumped into two people from high school though. Haven't seen them literally since grade 12.
Right.
And all I hear at the end is Bomps. I'm like, oh God, that name did not die.
Yeah, that name does not flow anymore. Yeah. Well, we've moved past it, like a lot of things.
Thank God.
And it's been such a long time. Like I haven't seen you. I think we've connected here and there, but I haven't seen you since 12th grade.
Toys R Us.
Maybe Toys R Us. Yeah, that's right. Okay, maybe. Jessie, for some reason, finds amusement that I worked at Toys R Us because I think I was in the wrong section too. It wasn't the most flattering section.
You were at Babies R Us, actually.
Yeah. Well, I was helping out. I was helping all the moms. Just making sure they were. Going through. What
were you helping them do? Go through.
Honestly, it was just helping them get some discounts and warranties.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Oh, my life.
We had some interaction. Yeah, we had some memories there at Babies R Us, but that job was so far back. Actually, when you brought it up before the podcast, I remembered. Memory. Yeah, I didn't. I actually kind of removed it from my memory. Like I didn't really think about it.
You just said it's gone, and my light just went out. Sorry.
Yeah, and then add insult to injury. You basically.
Why?
Wait, what happened?
I don't. This light just. I don't know. Okay. I'm in darkness.
No, I was making a joke. Okay, we're back.
Did I ruin your joke? I'm so sorry. Did I just like ruin everything?
No, we're good. We're good.
Don't get out of frame when I'm practicing questions. Like, stay in frame.
When you're a director, you get very agitated with your talent.
I know.
But you're not my talent.
I know, Mom. I had a light on, but like now we don't have light. So sorry.
Okay, so we're good. I think we're good.
We're good. It's fine.
Okay. So to add insult to injury,
yeah.
I didn't remember that you passed by the store and you said hi to me, right?
I didn't say hi to you. You said hi to me. So that is even worse that you don't remember because you shouted my name like down the hall.
Jessie, I mean this. I was so excited to see you that day. I'm excited to have you on the podcast. I'm so excited. Right. Real talk right now. Jessie is such a supporter of my work. She's always been like since we were teenagers in high school and we were trying to be funny or didn't mean to be funny. We're making jokes.
Yeah, I was saying, didn't mean to be funny.
Yeah, didn't mean to be funny for the most part. That's on my end. But been so supportive. She's rocking the 94 hoodie. Thank you so much for supporting. You love the color? How's the fit?
Love it.
Feel comfortable?
Everything is good. Yeah, I live in this. Yeah, it's so good. I'm obsessed. Amazing. Yeah, no, I love the color.
And you're born in 94, so that's perfect, right?
See that? Why are you trying to expose me? Don't do that.
Sorry. We're getting to that age where
no.
You never know, right? Some people want to feel like they're 29 forever. So
oh my God.
But you're not even there yet, so you don't even have to feel like that.
Exactly. No, I'm joking. Come on, you can't be the only one making jokes. It's me too.
Yeah, that's one thing I forgot. And we had like so many jokes so many jokes. Jessie likes to inform me about half of them. And that's why she enjoys my podcast. That's why she finds it entertaining, right? Because she sees a lot of my character kind of stick out. Anyway, but a lot of time
about you. This is about me. Come on, what are you doing?
Oh right, sorry.
Thank you.
So a lot of time has passed. I'm getting all serious now. This is the serious Corner Talks podcast version. This is not the comedic one.
Sorry.
No. Now look who's apologizing. Okay, so it's a lot of time has passed. A lot of time, and I am genuinely curious. Like, what have you been up to in that time? Like, what did you do after high school? What did you end up studying? What did you end up graduating from?
Nothing. Homeless. No,
You
I'm
ended up
kidding.
homeless?
Yeah,
That's where I
no,
saw you
no,
last. I think it was what, Queen Street?
yeah, in a fridge box.
In a fridge.
Imagine. No, what did I do? Okay, so I left good old Vaughan and I went out to Windsor.
Mhm.
So I ended up double majoring in journalism and then communication, media, and film. So as you know, I was in the arts at St. E's, but I don't know, I didn't really ever like the acting. I honestly wasn't even meant to ever be at St. E's, so that's kind of like funny in itself. I never wanted to act. But once I got older, I kind of liked being behind the camera, so that's what I studied more so. So I was more in like the production aspect, so like producer role was kind of what I liked. So that's what I did mostly for like my undergrad. And then I stayed in Windsor still after I graduated and I did advertising out here. So I was doing that for a couple places and then I don't know, got kind of tired of it, just wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I moved back home for about 3 years. And then I pursued teaching, which is so random, but I always had that kind of in the back of my head.
Oh, I
So
see
I
you.
wanted
Yeah.
to, yeah, I wanted to be
Yes,
a teacher. So I just decided, well, advertising is not really the route that I want to go. So may as well do something that's always kind of been in my mind. So yeah, so now I'm a teacher. Weirdly
Nice. That's
enough. It sounds
amazing. Yeah,
so
good for you.
weird to like say,
To say it.
but
Yeah. Well, you
yeah,
also remember
so-
like half of the teachers we've had, and you know, you just can't.
Yeah,
A lot of them were our age. We felt like they were 40 years old, and you know, they
exactly.
were in their 20s and 30s. So it's crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's so true.
So advertise. Wow, that's amazing. And in a way, I'm always like an advocate on this podcast about, you know, changing careers and feeling out things for yourself. You know, like in your 20s, I always say, you know, this is the time, you know, to experiment. This is the time to kind of
Right.
take risks. But you
Yeah.
didn't do it on purpose. That's what you're trying to say. Like
No.
it was happenstance.
Nothing I do is on purpose. Okay. I'm
Nothing
just
to do with on purpose.
nope.
You're just a free spirit floating around.
Sure.
You're
Or
just a
just
big what?
confused.
What were you gonna say? You're
I
just
don't
a
even
big
know.
what? Leave it out of it.
Yeah, just
No
leave
worries.
that out. No, I don't know. I'm just like I don't know. I'm a big advocate on just kind of doing whatever, going with the flow. Not necessarily free spirit, but like I just kind of try things out, you know, like jack of all trades, master of none, where I just kind of like
Yeah.
to dip into stuff. It seems interesting, seems fun. I try it. And then if I don't like it, on to the next kind of thing. So it doesn't
Yeah,
really work
that's how
out
you
though
should be.
always because it puts me in like, you know, a midlife crisis, but like daily because I'm always like, what am I doing? But whatever. It's just what I go with.
Well,
May
I'm
as
so
well
glad
now
you-
like
Yeah.
experiment.
I'm so glad you admitted that because, you know, I tell people all the time on this podcast, like a lot of people that don't know me as well, like you, right? Like you know me well, but a lot of people that don't, they sometimes don't even see that other side, right? They just see me putting out content. They just see me with collaborations and they think, you know, my life is, you know, as fun as it could be, right? You know, I'm being
Right.
creative. I get to do what I want every day, but I suffer with a lot of that, there's a lot of mental health problems, you know, waking up, sometimes just not feeling it. A lot of quarter life crisis. I wouldn't say midlife, but quarter life in the sense that we're 25, 26, 27. Last 3 years have been really rough for me, especially because I've been transitioning to this career in film. So I highly relate to,
Yeah.
you know, anyone that's creative, anyone that's in the artistic field, you especially, because I remember you know, I keep reiterating that because it's the truth. Like you and I saw eye to eye on a lot of things.
Mhm.
You know, people and like the arts, and we were that character, like, you know, just go with the flow. And I never really took myself that serious, like a lot of people did. You know, a lot of people knew what
Yeah.
they wanted. You know what I mean? Like, remember grade 10, like,
Yeah.
people were like trying to become accountants. It's like, I just want a beef patty from the cafeteria, you know?
No, but really, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so like, what are we doing tomorrow? Like, I have no idea what's happening
Yeah.
like the next 5 years of my life. Yeah, same thing. I know.
Yeah.
And I think though, also being in like a pandemic in the middle of your 20s is also super hard because you're already at that like questioning point where you're like, you don't know what you want to do, but then now you're kind of are like forced into kind of a pause and you didn't want to really be there. So now you're like, don't even
course.
know what I wanted to do. Now I don't even know how to like move on from here. So totally understand that on like where everyone I think is really feeling the effects of that. Like how you're saying, like kind of waking up and feel that mental health is really taking a toll. But I totally think that the pandemic has a lot to do with that too.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. When the pandemic first began, I told people, I'm like, because everyone now sees 94 Productions, 94 Collection, all these brands that I created. And
Yeah.
when the first 3-4 months, like it happened, I literally was driving everyone in this house insane, like my parents, my sister, because I just couldn't believe. Yeah, because I just couldn't believe I was in a predicament again, where, you know, because
Right.
quit my job when I turned 25. I was working at Bell, quit that job because, again, same thing with you. I needed something different, and I was tired of working like sales. Even though I studied marketing, I knew that wasn't entirely what I wanted to do. So I decided to give myself, at least a year to figure myself out. Went to California, came back with a mission. And then the pandemic hits and you're saying to yourself, like, what do I do now? And people forget now it's like, no one wears a mask, no one cares. But people forget back in like March 2020, April 2020, like you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know if you're going to be in your house for a very long time. So it was highly threatening to, my trajectory, like where I wanted to be with this career. But it all panned out. It all worked out for the best. I think that speaks to like, my tenacity. My
exactly. And your consistency is like crazy. So that's really good.
Thank you.
That's like the key thing. You got to stay consistent, and you have been. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's why I do. And honestly, it's compliments like coming from you. When you reached out to me and you told me how much you love my podcast, I'll be honest, like that just really gave me some motivation, like gave me inspiration to keep going. Obviously I've had other compliments along the way, but no, I'm serious. Like I do it for the audience.
I wasn't the only one. What the?
Yeah, right. I know. Only Jessie. I have actually a picture frame. You don't see it, but it's out of frame. It's a picture frame.
You have
of
a shrine. That's kind of crazy, but expect.
Oh, I didn't say a shrine. I said a picture frame. But your fantasy is going a little.
It's okay.
Bit too
I just
far.
Exposed you. It's fine. Don't worry about
it's
it.
Fine. It's
no,
fine.
but I love seeing.
I was gonna say, I think I see a number.
Oh, I know what you were gonna say.
Okay.
No, I love seeing like when friends that we like kind of grew up with are like doing their own thing. That's why when I seen what you're doing, and then we were just talking a bit before this, but like our other friends, like what they're doing, and I just think it's so cool. Like, and I think sometimes it sucks because it's like you don't talk to people for a long time. So when you reach out, sometimes it looks like it's just kind of like ulterior motive to it. Cause it's like, oh, now that I see you're doing something, now I'm reaching out. But I feel like when you put yourself on a platform like this, it's like, and you're so out there, and I keep seeing it, but like, I'm actually liking the content. I can't help like whether we spoke or haven't spoken, I have to say something about it because I would want that kind of recognition if I was doing something and people were actually enjoying the content that I was putting out. So every once in a while, to like certain people that I've seen are actually doing stuff, I just get excited for them because I'm like, that's so nice that like you're doing something that you're passionate on and like you're actually following through and like keeping up with it.
Yeah, that's such a healthy attitude to have. That's something that we have to instill in a lot of us. I know like with social media, right, with the environment, we're kind of like the society we're raised, naturally we get competitive in the sense that we're not doing enough. Even if we don't want to come across as competitive, we are, right? We're comparing, we're contrasting, we're saying like, where am I at what point in the journey? Why is that person farther ahead of me than I am, with my career? But I think that attitude is something that we can all learn from is, be happy for people that, you've known, you've been friends with, like 100%. See them prosper. Cause, you and I were talking before the podcast, like a lot of the guests that I've had, quite recently, like Daniel Chan, went to high school with him. One of the first things I brought up to him is, I didn't even know you were in photography. And he's like, I didn't know he had a passion for it. And apparently he always had a passion for it. He just told me the honest truth. That's something that I always kept to myself is in high school, especially like the generation we were raised with, they didn't really care for the arts. Like the predominant thing to talk about conversation was sports. And that's something that you probably would find very interesting is, I don't know if you have this feeling, this notion, but my sister, who's like 5 years younger than me, considered a Gen Z, their generation, like high school, they were getting encouraged to like go into the singing program and like create tracks on Spotify while they were playing soccer. And some people didn't even play soccer and they had a podcast, you know what I mean? So it's like, when we were in high school, not for anything, like everyone was different, but how I remember high school, it's like 21 Jump Street style, like Channing Tatum walks in with the backpack.
Are you Channing Tatum? Yeah.
I honestly, some people would argue I'm not, but just lost my voice. But I'm walking, I tell my sister all the time, I joke around, I'm like, you're like Jonah Hill and I'm Channing Tatum when they walk into the school. And like Dave Franco's like, yo, I hate professional sports, such a fascist, like piece of shit, like system. And he's just like, he's like, I hate high school. He's like, what is this? And that's how I was like, when I hear my sister's friends talk, when I even bring them on the podcast and they were like, one of them was telling me like, yeah, my boys were always supportive of my dream. Like, I was in the rap dance, vocal program and I was singing and I'm saying to myself, what high school is that? Oh, St. E's? It changed in like 5 years. That's crazy. Like, again, when we were in high school, people didn't talk like that. People dropped out of the rap program for fear of judgment. So
literally, honestly, I feel like, and it's so funny because our school was so heavily about the arts. So you would think that like even in our own world of like being within those walls, we ourselves would just think like, yeah, if I wanted to do this, it's something I could do because we were surrounded by it daily. But even ourselves, like being there, like I remember being in drama, being like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not going to do anything with this. Like, what am I doing? Like, I remember just always think that, like, why I'm not going to be like an actor. So why am I in the drama program? Like, I just would think all these like random things. Cause I would never think that would be like a career. You know what I mean? Whereas now it's like, you do like a 7-second TikTok and you're making millions, and for doing like a little skit or something like on a TikTok. So it's just crazy that like for us, it was like we were judging ourselves so heavily on certain things, being like, oh, that's not going to make me money, or that's not going to do anything. And now it's like so encouraged to like be creative and step out of that kind of traditional 9-to-5 job that people thought that we should have.
Yeah, and you said it right on the nose. Like there's so many people that in high school, like I talk to now, where I kind of wish, like we're both 27. So you see like people in their 20, like 22, 21, like clients I deal with, colleagues, whatever have you. And they're, further along in their career as an actor, as a director, whatever have you. And I say to myself, damn, like because of social media, that incentive was there. You know what I mean? Like to drive them, to push them. Like social media was around when we were in high school, but I only remember it as something to invite people at parties, or like for the girls, I think was
post
like,
your lunch, like
post your lunch, or like don't buy my prom dress or I'll kill you. You know what I mean? But there was
but
really. And wait, has there been any stories that
there was one, we had a group like that in grade 12. I remember I remember those kind of like groups though and stuff though, where people will just have like use social media just for like that kind of stuff. It wasn't necessarily for us to like create content. Like we created for ourselves. We weren't creating for like an audience. It was just like, let me take a picture of it. Like I remember, if I go through, I have a picture on my, like, I don't even know why I ever did this, on my Instagram. I have a picture, and it's like of like, I think it was Superhero Day at our school or something. And I remember I was like obsessed.
You're a fan of the Green
Spider-Man.
Lantern. Oh, no, I thought you were gonna say Green Lantern. We'll get into that.
You know me. What?
Do you remember you wore a shirt, Green Lantern, and I was really pissed off because I was like, it was a crap movie. And you're like, no, it's not. You were really offended. And I was like, it was a crap movie.
Relax, really offended. No, but you know what? You'd be happy to know though. Remember when our school caught fire from those tires that someone threw at it?
Yeah, weren't we off like 2 days because of that or something?
Yeah. Well, that Green Lantern shirt was in my locker and burnt. Like, well, not burnt because the lockers didn't catch fire, but like all the smoke. You remember how like we had to share our lockers?
Yeah, the ash.
It was it was like all black, all of my whole locker. So anyways, that shirt though, I remember that shirt was in there. So that's funny that you even brought that up. But no, Green Lantern is trash. I like Spider-Man.
But you were such a fan. You remember the shirt? You wore a shirt for something. All right. Okay, it was a pajama top.
Got it at Hot Topic.
Got it at Hot Topic. Let's be honest, those are pajama tops. Okay.
No, I like Spider-Man. Anyways, so on my Instagram, I had this like picture. It was like my backpack in grade 12, because like who was I? Identity issues. Was Spider-Man backpack. Weird. And then it was like Superhero Day, so I had like my pajama pants that were like Spider-Man.
Superhero Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Know.
Yeah.
But you don't remember anything, so you don't know.
Civvy's Day was just a superhero day. I want to feel like empowered.
No one dressed up. It was just me in superhero clothing.
Yeah. I was the idiot that showed up in a uniform on Civvy's Day for the Spielberg.
Probably. I know. Yeah, you actually were. But anyways, back to my original point of this story. My Instagram had like a picture of like my pants with like the backpack, and that was a post, and that was like literally a post. Why did I ever post that? Like, who is that for? What do we care? And now I like look at that and I'm like, I would never post something like that. But yeah, like it just shows how much social media has changed. Like we used to just post for ourselves, like just whatever it was.
But we were more conscientious about it. Like you see how you wish you didn't post that? Like people are posting like anything now. Like they don't care.
True.
You know? Not
but
like
they make some money.
Anything.
Let them do it.
What I'm saying is that I feel, if we were much younger, like a different generation, you would be posting that Spider-Man backpack and be like, yeah, like that was just my past. Like I'm a Spider-Man fan. No, you feel different about it?
Nah. Yeah.
Nah. All right. I always thought you embraced that geeky. I always thought you would embrace that geeky side.
You think I'm a geek?
Well, you love Spider-Man and you had a Green Lantern shirt in your locker.
You don't remember any of our interactions in like our entire friendship of high school, but you remember that I wore a Green Lantern shirt. You were really impressed, huh?
I remember. I was
really
impressed. Why are you looking at my shirt, right?
To this day, I just remember, like mad about it.
I remember this. I remember it vividly. So we were walking, and the trailer came out with Ryan Reynolds. Everyone was hyping, and I was just the only one that was, because I'm into my movie. So I was like, I'm a geek about it. And I was just like, I don't care for Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. And you heard it. You always have to razz him. And you're like, yo, why don't you shut up? Like, Green Lantern's gonna be.
Oh, I feel like this is
no, you didn't say shut up. But you said like.
That sound like our interaction.
Yes. You're like, no, but all you said was what? I don't know. I feel like you were like upset that I said Green Lantern was not.
You know why I feel like this is a lie though? Because like I feel like that shirt just was like one that was like comfy and I wore, because I've never even watched Green Lantern. So
I definitely made it.
So
all I remember is that I made a
bothered?
comment. I don't know about the interaction. I just remember I made a comment like, why are you wearing a Green Lantern shirt? You know what I mean? And it wasn't a critique on your fashion. It was more so a representation of cinema.
Oh, don't worry. I had no fashion. You're not coming at me. It's fine.
What we all didn't have. Are you kidding? We wore like pasta stained uniforms. Remember those white polos? Like, who was thinking that?
No,
like, who gives
red.
that to a teenager?
Remember? Pure Ministry. I got to wear a red one.
Oh, you got to wear a red one. Oh, I remember wearing those. Like, remember those like fitted, those like tight, like those black jeans I had.
Which
I didn't have like
oh
the
my
McCarthy,
gosh, instead
like,
of
Dicks,
instead of McCarthy's,
whatever
right,
the fuck it is. Yeah.
Right.
I had like those fitted
God.
pants, and
Nice.
yeah,
Nice
I would
belt?
always get in shit. With it. Shut up. I had to keep the pants on. All right, so we're moving on.
Giving you trauma from high school.
You know what?
I love
Yeah,
it.
because I remember it. Do you remember my watch? I had a watch.
Okay,
on
listen, I didn't like
well, you remember
look
the
you
belt.
up and down and
Hey, you remember the
everything.
belt? The belt last I saw wasn't shown, so I don't know how you know about the belt. Anyway, we're moving on. So you're now a teacher. Congratulations. Is this career going to be changing anytime soon? Based on your track record? Really? No, are you serious?
Yeah,
Jesse?
man.
Like, yeah?
No, I'm serious. Yeah, because I just feel like I'm not meant for like a 9 to 5. I know that sounds like kind of like weird and whatever, but I just don't feel like that's like me. I feel like I need to do something like on my own. So with teaching now, when I went to teachers college, it was more so like teaching us about like collaborative work and how to get students to like build on teamwork. But now in the middle of a pandemic, a student can't even like high five. You know what I mean? So like,
there's no interaction for sure.
You can't have the stuff that I've learned, and that's totally fine. There's ways to get around it, obviously, and there's like things that you can still do to like be a presence. I taught, like I was a grade 6-7 teacher. I had an LTO in that for a while, and like loved my students. I loved the environment, but what I hated the most was that I can't really teach in the way that like I want to. So it's not really up to me, right? I still have to follow like whatever the principal wants. I have to follow the guidelines of the school, and then also like the most important would be basically the actual like curriculum. So it's not necessarily what I want to teach, and some of the things I don't agree with, right? Like some of the things that, especially when I was teaching in Toronto, I was teaching at a Catholic school, so a lot of the stuff has to kind of follow in line, and that's totally fine. But sometimes it's not necessarily what I believe, or they kind of push things that necessarily aren't what I would say you have to believe in, whereas they make it kind of more matter of fact, like this is right, this is wrong. And I don't really like that, but I have to kind of bite my tongue because of the person that I am in the classroom. So I think for me, I don't think it's going to be forever. I think this is just going to be a way to pay off the debt that I've now created trying to go to teachers college.
Oh, okay.
So I just, it's good for now. It's good money for now. And I still love it and I'm passionate about it and I have fun doing it. But actually, while I don't even know if you even know this, but during the pandemic, my dad and I started a t-shirt company. I don't know if I
No, I didn't pick that up. No.
Yeah, so me and my dad started doing just like personalized, really anything.
Like tutoring
Pillow
sessions?
towels, shirts. Pardon?
Like tutoring sessions? Like what is this company about?
No. Like shirts, like not even like about like school. Like me and my dad just it was
merch.
completely like it was completely like side noted. It was just because it was in the middle of pandemic. I was just doing supply work at the time when the pandemic first hit. So like couldn't really work much because didn't really need a supply for like online learning. But yeah, so my dad and I did that, and I really liked that. Like I had so much fun doing that. I actually still do it now. But I just more so like that. So if I could kind of take that and then make a career out of that, I feel like that's something that I'd find to be more like fulfilling. But who knows? Honestly, who knows? I'm so like indecisive. I'm such a like in the moment kind of person where like this is what's working for me right now. I'm gonna run with it, and then tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and want to do something new. So who knows?
So
but yeah,
true.
I don't think it's gonna be forever.
No, I was saying it's so true. Like, that we have the same characters. Like my whole thing is no matter what I'm doing, as long as it's feeding or pertaining to the dream, like that's like that's what encompasses me. But I'm saying regarding what you just said is living in the moment is, yeah, there are times when it's like, if I'm working on like a specific video, like I'm editing it, it's like, I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I still want the dream, even though like that's working towards the dream. It's like, I'd rather be doing something else. Like my brain, like I get bored very easily, as you remember, like I get very distracted.
Yeah.
So
same.
I just can't sit still. And I've learned to just, instead of being hard on myself, embrace it, like adapt to it, kind of make it work for me, if that makes sense. So instead of fighting the urge, how like nowadays everyone's a guru, right? Everyone's trying to tell you how to live your life better. And everyone's like, oh, you gotta have discipline. And it's like, for me, it's like, discipline is sitting yourself down and actually like working towards it, giving yourself a set amount of hours. But in between those hours, if you take 10 minutes and you go on a website and you search up Amazon, like allow yourself, especially if you're that character, right? That can't stay focused for too long. You know what I mean? And I still get my work done, as you've told me many times in this podcast, like I'm being consistent. So it's worked for me. Again, I slip here and there. Sometimes I get carried away. But as long as I don't, because one thing I forgot to mention is, or I've mentioned it before on many podcast episodes, is I always fear burning out because I know what that feeling's like. I'm always on the cusp of it. It's really bad. I do video editing for a company in Los Angeles. And then on the weekends, I, run my business. And as much as I'm having a great time, I'm grateful for the experience and everything. There's not one day of the week, I'm not kidding you, Jessie, where I just stay, like I do nothing. Like I'm working every day because I've developed this, pattern, this routine that I just can't seem to like divert from. And if I do, I feel guilty, and it's really bad. It's like very toxic, like a relationship I have. It's like almost like being a workaholic. But I know that I have to give myself that break, right? That distance in order to avoid being burnt out, especially characters like us, right? That could get bored very easily. So
yeah. Well, I'm the same way though, where like my problem is I don't say no. I bite off way more than I could chew. Where like I'm not just doing, so I do teaching during the day. And then just now I just finished this order, but I took on like a pretty large hoodie order where I did like grad sweaters for 2 different schools and like 3 different classes of them. So I had about like 70 hoodies that I had to make, which like, it's pretty time consuming, especially when I have other things on the go. So I was like working as a teacher from Monday to Friday. And then after school, working on the hoodies as much as I could. But then I also work at a bar. So like I do that on the side also. And then I also work at a PPE place. I actually did that before I did this podcast with you. Like, so I'm the same though. I like constantly doing stuff because I always need to be moving. I can't sit still too long because like I get in my head, see like you have a fear of burning out. I don't mind burning out. It's kind of bad. And it is bad. It catches up to me. I have days where like it catches up to me and I'm like, I really have like, but that's what it is. I just have bad days. Like I'll have like a really bad like day where I'm like, what, like this is not okay. But then I keep pushing because I'm like, I know that the minute I stay still, I'm going to hate it more. I don't like being bored. Sure. I really hate being bored because then it gets in my head and then I overthink and then I like start to like.
And that's something I was going to agree with you is that exactly that's why I continue, because that stands like feeling stagnant, right? Because there are days where I just say to myself, those people that go like, today I'm gonna take it for myself and just relax and like, watch a movie. I literally tell myself that like a corny, oh, I'm just gonna relax today, maybe journal some bullshit. And then I'm like, oh my god, I gotta do this. I gotta edit my podcast. I gotta like see if this guest wants to do this day and whatever. And I just get caught up in my work. The only reason with the whole burnout thing, the reason why I fear it is because a lot of what I do relies on creativity. Creativity flows easily when you're stimulated, when you're kind of optimistic, you know what I mean, when you have like that joy, that zest. So what I'm saying is like, and I write a lot too, right? That's what I do. I write, I direct. So I don't know how to explain it to you. Like when I write, if I'm not feeling it, like I still write, I push myself, but there's just a different energy when the mind's
it's like
open,
writer's block.
You know what I mean?
100%. Exactly. Totally. Yeah. You're not in that same kind of excited state where you're like not really trying to push it. It's like feels more like work than
that's
like
why I'm highly
I get that. I totally understand.
It's just being about cautious, but definitely I'm really kind of excited what is in store for you next, after teaching. You've said you don't know, right? It's kind of like whatever happens, right?
That's kind of the scary part though,
what?
Because I don't know what's like next.
Because I don't know?
The fear of the unknown. Yeah. especially now, like with like just like the pandemic and everything. I know things are starting to slowly like
Mhm.
open, but I just feel like there's already just so many like what ifs and so many kind of like unknowns that the fact that I don't even have like a grasp on like what I want to do next, it's, I don't know. Every day is like a just kind of like, okay, everything happens for a reason. I
Just
gotta be
kind of
one of
go with the
those, you
flow.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta like scroll through TikTok and let my For You page, a 16-year-old telling me like today is gonna be a good day.
I
And
know,
me being like,
right?
yes, it is. That was a sign for
Yeah,
me. That's
yeah.
a sign 333, right? Like
There you go. 333. Yeah, I know.
that's
So
what I
my God,
have to
so much
do.
alike. And when so like your parents, everyone's like supportive as long as like you're in good health kind of thing. Like, or are they like
Yeah.
you should know what you're doing, whatever? I'm curious, we're at
I
that
feel
age. A
like
lot of
no,
people.
yeah, I feel like my parents with me are more lenient to like whatever I want to do just because they
Mhm.
know that like I'm more so like will stand my ground on it. Like kind of like
Yeah.
they can't really be like, oh well, you should do it'd be like, well, I'm not gonna do that.
You don't
So
waver
like they already
easily. Yeah.
know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they know that about me already. So I feel like they've never told me that I can't do something, but my parents are very much so like teaching should be what I do because it's going to give me like stability and
Yeah.
I'm going to get a collect a pension and it's going to be good benefits. Like even now, like I'm only doing supply. I haven't applied or taken any kind of permanency just because I don't want to. I kind of like the idea of like going to a new school every day or like not really having the responsibility of having to like actually create the criteria where I've done that, right? Like I did an LTO and that was like burnout on 100. Like that I've never been more burnt out in my life just because I was really trying to be kind of more innovative with my teaching. I didn't want to be like,
Hmm.
I don't know, I just feel like so many teachers and so many classes that I've been in were just so mundane and like I did not care for them. They were not memorable to me at all. And I never wanted to be that type of teacher. I always wanted to be like the stuff that we do in our class is kind of like with purpose. Like I
Engaged,
had one of my
invested.
classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I had for now they do thank God they teach financial literacy for math. It's like
Yeah, I
part of
heard
the
about
curriculum
that.
now.
That's crazy to
Yeah,
me. Yeah.
which I think is like so important because I
Yeah.
honestly to this moment still don't know a lot, but like
Same.
didn't even learn a lot. I didn't even have a checkings account until or sorry, a savings account until like I was like my second year of university. And
Yeah.
that's because like my brother was like, what are you doing? You should have one.
You
So
should have one.
I
Yeah.
had my I had my students though do like a financial plan. So like basically like they had to write like they had to submit a resume to me and then they had to fill
Yeah.
out job application and then like I had the criteria whatever. Anyways, all the boring details, but basically I had one of my students a grade 7 student. She actually took that plan that she had because she said that she wanted to be like a jewelry maker. That was her career type that she chose. And she took the career plan that she made in our class and she actually made like an Etsy and she sells necklaces
Oh,
like
wow.
on online and stuff like in grade
Good for
7.
her. Yeah.
So I just felt like to me that's so fulfilling because it was like you actually took something that you learned in my class and like put that to real life and like are actually doing something with it. But on the flip, doing that and having to think so hard into like not just giving my students a worksheet and like actually making each lesson meaningful,
Yeah.
it takes a lot out of me. So I'm just not in that mind space right now, especially with like the pandemic. I'm just like not in the mind space to like be doing that. So I like what I'm doing right now, teaching wise. But yeah, so my parents though I think would more so like it if I stuck with it and
Yeah.
this is kind of what I do. But I
Because
just
it's
have
that
so many
traditional
ideas.
job. It's stability. It's
Right.
structured. But
And
you,
they're not
yeah.
wrong. They're not wrong.
No,
It
for
would be
sure. Yeah.
stability and it
You
would give
see
me
with
good
the pandemic, the
benefits.
importance of having something that's stable, right?
A hundred
Yeah.
percent. But I just feel like for me, I just feel like there's like more. I don't know what see like it's good for you. Like you kind of have like you know what you like, you know what your dream is, you know what your passion is, and now
Yeah.
it's just a matter of how are you going to get there. I don't really
Yeah.
have like a dream necessarily.
Yeah. That was going
I
to be
just
my next
know,
question. Yeah. I was curious, like, if you
yeah,
have
I
like something you're working towards, but that would make more sense, like, why you're kind of working career to like job to job, right? And I can't
yeah,
really like encourage you, like, no, like, if that's your dream, you should stay there because then you'll use it for this. It's like, if you don't even know
right.
yourself, like, you need to, like, only you
I
will
need to
figure
figure
it
it
out.
out. Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like no one's going
exactly.
to encourage you because they don't even know themselves, right? And there's nothing
Exactly.
wrong
And
with
that's,
that.
yeah. But it just contributes to the anxiety of it, right? Because like imagine like not knowing your own purpose. So like you're trying to like figure that
Yeah.
out and you're like, so now it's like whenever I do stuff, I'm like, does this even matter? Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I kind of overthink sometimes. But then on the flip, I kind of don't because I've noticed that like everything that's happened in my life has brought me to a certain point that like had that not
Yeah.
happened, this wouldn't happen. And then, so on and so forth. So hopefully though, I have an idea in the works for something that I want to do moving forward. It's just a matter of like how to kind of get an emotion. So I'm hoping that's kind of like my kickoff and like my thing, but I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
see.
if you want my opinion, like when you said teaching, I actually said that's perfect for you because that's how I honestly thought you were always. weren't you a strong writer? Like, weren't you studying English
Yeah.
at one point?
Yeah, well, that's why I went into journalism for my undergrad, because
Okay.
I didn't want to be an English major, because I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do with English other than
Yeah.
becoming an English teacher.
Right.
So I went into journalism, but I actually ended up hating journalism
Oh,
just
okay.
because it's very invasive, I find, which like has
Yeah.
to be, like you have to
Yeah.
ask like the hard-hitting questions.
You don't like
But
being intrusive.
yeah, and I just remember there was like one of our assignments, there was like someone had passed away or something like that, and basically you had to get a comment. And I was like, but someone had just passed away. Like, I don't want to ask them that, like, right, like come to their door, like, hey, what do you think about, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
just felt it was like very, and like, but then you have like the girl sitting beside me, she's like, I'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
you have people who
You have to be that
are
character.
passionate on
Yeah.
it, and it just wasn't for me, and I didn't like it. But yeah, writing though, I love writing. Like in any kind of capacity, I really do love writing. English has always been like my favorite subject. So I do like that, and what I have in mind for like kind of my next steps kind of has a bit of that, but like not really. Just don't want to say too much about it, just because I don't really know much about it myself, like what I'm really
No,
doing.
that's fine. You said more than enough, but like, just
But
really, impressive in a way where as long as you're not idle, right? There's a lot of people that don't know what they want. They just freeze and they like work part-time at a retail store. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
actually like taking risks. You're going out there, you're working jobs that, you're working conventional jobs, but you're also doing unconventional things, right? Starting
Yeah.
a business with your dad, selling shirts, implementing new kind of programs into the curriculum that some teachers would kind of look as extra
Yeah.
work, right? You're saying as no, like that's something to help the students progress, right? That's something that I've
Right.
always been an advocate for. My mom, you've met her, right? I
Mhm.
feel bad when she says like I wish I was a teacher, because I know my mom would kill it. She has that
Yeah.
like tough fair persona, and I often joke around like that's what keeps me in line, keeps me grounded towards my dream. But I could see that influencing a lot of kids, like having an effect on a lot of kids, and being inspired by that. There's so many teachers, not to shit on them, but we've had that are like, wow, they're really here just for either the 2 months or the paycheck. You know what I mean? That 2 months
Honestly though,
free.
no, it's so true. Like there's so many teachers that I just was like, you are what I don't want to be as a teacher. And like it's just much more fulfilling when you can really connect with your students. Like I had remember when Among Us was like a thing? I made like a math kind of Among Us, whatever. Anyways, it was like an interactive. So like you kind of like touch through, and instead of
Mhm.
doing like a task that's like typical of like Among Us, you would have to do a math equation based on like what we were doing. And like my students like blew up for that. Like they loved it. And like when we had to do math, like they were excited. Whereas like I remember being in school like ready for math and like hating it. And even the students who I knew were bad at math and didn't like math, they were still excited to do it because we were doing it in a way that they like more so understood. Like they were excited because it was like I added some pictures and some music, and now all of a sudden they're like excited. So it doesn't really take much,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I do love it, and I do think that like it would be fulfilling in my life. Not just like I do love teaching, and everyone that I talk to when I say that I'm a teacher, they're always like, yeah, like that's what I picture you as. I just feel like there's like more. You know what
There's
I mean?
more
Like
to
you know,
it,
you
yeah.
have that like. I just feel like there's like more for me to
Well,
do in life.
speaking
I
of
don't know what it is.
yeah, well, speaking of that, that's why I want to ask you this next question, where I partly, other than the reason of catching up with you, you've always been a good friend. I remember when we first reconnected, you were conducting this like podcast / vlog show, just the two of us. So I wanted to know, like, yeah, and I decided to go out of my way and like see if you guys were still making content, you guys are still running it, and there's nothing to be seen. I
Okay,
wanted to know what happened with this
that was
podcast. First of all, like, why was
her.
it created and where is it headed?
Okay, so we started that podcast. That's one of my best friends, Jasenia. Her and I did it, and it's called Just the Two of Us because
Mhm.
obviously we're both Jess,
Right.
whatever, you get it. So that started because at the beginning of the pandemic, I had also had like a relationship status change. So I was dating somebody, and then the pandemic hit, that ended, and like it, especially being like alone now, like in isolation, where like this was like I'm talking like peak of pandemic, where people were like washing their grocery bags when they came in.
Yeah,
Okay, not just like
yeah.
the food that came in.
Microwaving
And,
their
like everyone
food for
was
30 seconds. You remember that? If they
right,
had
like
takeout? Yeah.
yeah, like making sure that like everything was like sanitized and sprayed. So like people took that super serious, especially in my family too. Like we weren't allowed to have anybody like come in my house, anything. So
Yeah.
I was like, I just went from normal life already, whatever. Plus I was like in a relationship. So I
Yeah.
was used to like having somebody every single day that I was talking to in some kind of capacity,
Right.
to now literally no human interaction outside. But now also my phone is literally no one's texting me, no one's calling me, no one's talking to me.
Right.
So it was just a complete change. So with Jasenia, what we would do is we would do like outdoor workouts or like just kind of like workouts together, whatever. So we lived pretty close at the time and we see each other daily. And then her and I were like, why don't we just like start a YouTube and like just make videos and it was honestly for ourselves because I never anticipated for people to even watch it, if I'm really, really honest.
Yeah.
We obviously like put it up and like promoted it because like, hey, we made the content, like if you want to
Yeah,
watch
for
whatever.
sure. Yeah.
But it was never about like, if people watch it, they watch it. They don't, if they don't. So we made that initially honestly for ourselves. We were bored in quarantine. We saw each other every single day anyways because we were working out, and then it was something fun to do. And for me especially, because I did all the editing, it was something to get my mind and keep me busy. So like it was good for me because if you notice, I don't know like which ones you've ever watched or if you've ever watched any of them, but I have like a specific like editing style where I'll put in clips from like movies, or I'll put in like pictures of like whatever certain memes.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like my editing style because I edit for myself. I don't edit for an audience. So
It's
like
the best way.
I edit in a way that like when I watch it, I laugh and I'm gonna like it.
There
So
you go.
like I don't really care if you like it, but like
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. So either people liked our content or didn't like it because they didn't like my editing style. So but I have like actually a lot of compliments on the editing style, which I was really shocked about because people were like, oh my god, this was so funny. And I'm like, really? Like you have like the same humor as me? Like you
The
thought that
same
was
humor.
funny?
Yeah. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
We have the same humor. It's
Yeah.
already been
Well, yeah,
established.
we have the
Yeah.
same. Obviously, we have the same humor. So, but yeah, so then we just did that, and then the reason it stopped was because I ended up moving. So last summer I moved to Windsor just for like, usually for the summer I'll like move to Windsor and I'll work back at the bar that I worked at like way back when I
Why
was
is that?
in
Just
undergrad.
change of environment? Change of space?
Yeah, and like it's good money too, like just during the
Okay.
summertime. And then I had a lot of friends that were here too that I'd made like during my undergrad. So it's just nice to catch up with them too. But then I would stay for the summer and then I'd go back home. So then whatever. But this summer when I came to Windsor, I ended up just kind of like lingering and I stayed.
Wow.
So it died off because we didn't see each other anymore. Then we tried coming up with ways that we were going to do it where like I was here, she was there. But then because I was also doing so much here, I was like, it kind of sucks because then like I'm also going to have to edit. And then like it became too much. But I actually didn't even know that all of our stuff is taken down either until I went to go look at it one day. And then I'm like, hey, where's our stuff? So she made it private. She was like, well,
okay.
we weren't doing anything with it. So it's still there. But yeah, she just
Yeah, as long as
them.
you didn't delete it. Because I think it was a fun show.
No,
And you should definitely make a
yeah.
comeback. Yeah.
Yeah, they were really funny. I know.
I honestly thought
actually
that's something like
it.
you could do as well, right? Like other than teaching. Again, the creative persona you have, right? Is I thought you were gonna go full force with that. Obviously, life gets in the way, like with anything, right? But
yeah.
never too late for sure. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
definitely
I
have
honestly
it.
I've always thought too of just doing a YouTube more kind of like lifestyle where it was like just kind of like me and my day. And like again, not for
You'd kill
anybody,
it.
but like for
Yeah.
myself. But you know, you do get in your head though, when we were doing the just the two of us, no one said it to me directly, but I'd hear through the grapevine that like people would be like, you know, like what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, but
you know
everyone,
what I mean? Like
everyone, yeah, everyone
we're
talks shit.
not like yeah.
I get
but
what
like,
you
we're
mean.
not
I
like
get what you mean.
16. I'm not 16 being like, hey, look at my like makeup routine.
No, don't
Like no one really
yeah.
cares. But it just so some like it didn't really matter to me because at the end of the day, like when I was
Yeah.
making those videos, it wasn't for other people. It was like I'm in the middle of a pandemic. I need something to do. This is exciting and fun, whatever. And I'm just making a video out of it. But I was thinking of doing it like on my own just because like I have the equipment. I'm obviously where I am, like, you know, I'm in Windsor. I have things that I'm doing here. But I don't know. Sometimes you get in your own head where you're like, okay, I could make it and it doesn't matter if people watch. But at the same time too, like, I don't know, those comments.
Well,
kinda
I was
get to you
gonna
sometimes.
listen, like I love the game plan you have. I was even thinking of a crazy idea. So where are you right now? Windsor?
Yeah, I'm in Windsor.
But you're staying in Windsor?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
That's
so
my
what
problem.
I'm
I'm telling you, I'm
saying,
such an indecisive person.
okay, check it out, right? So I love experimenting. So primarily I'm a film director. Like I love making my short films and eventually transitioning to features. But I also do now music videos, promotional content. And a thing that I really want to do, other than BTS, I do a behind the scenes video, is vlogs. There's a certain style that like I see, like especially with these LA vloggers, that they like just document their day. And there's a lot of like, especially when you have like a buddy with you, like just traveling around. So what I was saying is that if you ever find yourself back in Toronto and you want to like hang out, we should do like a vlog kind of style with our humor. I think it would kill.
We should. Oh, that I think that
You know what I
that'd be
mean?
funny. We
Like
should
just
do
like
that. That's
try
so
out
funny.
food trucks and shit. And I mean, like, you know, my humor, and you just like catching. I'm serious about it. Like, I think we could really pull it off, and I think that's what
That could
people
be
want to
fun.
see. I'm pitching it already to other people, like, because the thing
Oh,
with me
so
is
I'm
like
not your
I would
first
do it.
choice, huh? Sloppy seconds
Well, you're
here.
the first actually. No,
Wow.
hey, in all seriousness, I'm
No,
serious.
I'm joking.
In all serious.
I'm
No,
joking.
I know you're messing around, but I'm actually serious about this. You're actually the first person I voiced it to. I'm gonna be voicing it to other people, but because you're on that subject and I see your passion, I'm like, hey, like, I don't know where you are. Like, Windsor is a bit of a stretch, but if you're ever back in the area, especially in the city of Toronto, like, we could definitely meet up and do something like that. The thing is that I don't know, you might be different. It's just hard to do it by yourself. And again, we're not like, I don't know. My life is just not that exciting, like day to day. So like when you have like a group or someone to follow, like I'm trying to like articulate, like perfect it myself, like trying to pinpoint it. But yeah, it's definitely something if you're down to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm so down. That's so fun. But you know what too though? Like what I was thinking, if I ever were to do like vlog style like videos, even just like
Yeah.
on my own kind of thing, I was thinking like, let's say like it completely bombs, not even one person watches. I was like, we don't take video. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I have so many home videos like that I have from like growing up that my parents took or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't
Same.
have that. I have like 2 second like Snapchats that like, you know what I mean? I record for a little bit, but then like it kind of goes away. I don't actually have like my day and stuff like that. So when I see people's like vlogs online, I'm like, even if no one were to ever watch this is something that you could look back on in like 10 years and be like, oh my God, remember when I lived out in this place? Remember when I went and did
It's
that
true.
on that day? Like, so it seems like it could be boring, like, but at the end of the day, like, we do stuff in our day other than like, if you have a day that you're just like literally at home. But I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes people want to see that too, because people want to relate to that and know that like they're not the only ones who spend days just like sitting on the couch. So
No, that's
I don't
so
know.
true. No, it's
Yeah.
true. And that's something that's what I mean, right? Like, go for that. I just like have this, I think it's because like the style that I watch, like what I see, also like the character, like I feel like I'd be more funny if like I was bouncing ideas off of people, but
Right,
that's just,
right. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like I do, I don't know if you saw those videos where I do sit on the couch and talk to the camera,
Where yeah,
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
vlog,
Are you
yeah,
talking
like
about like with your art and stuff
I
like
review
that?
my
Where you
book and
like
that, yeah. So like
right.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
fun and
yeah.
all, but when I look at them, sometimes I'm like, I wince because I'm like that's not like Daniel. Like sometimes like I want to like be out there,
Yeah.
like walking around and like, I don't know. But it's something, again, like that's what creativity is. It's all experimentation. We don't really know how it's going to be, how
Yeah.
it's going to work. My whole thing is like,
Exactly.
again, with the BTS video, I used to see it a lot with videographers, directors. And I pulled it out. Like I did it for the past client I worked with for a music video. And I did it behind the scenes only because I had like a bunch of like raw footage and, shots that I didn't use. And I had
Right.
my voice in it. I don't know if you watched, did you watch it?
No, I didn't see
Okay,
that.
okay. So my voice is in it, and you can imagine me. I'm like, hey, center, don't look at the camera. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like
Right.
giving directions, but you just hear a voice. But it worked out because I did it with the music, whatever. So it was never intended to be a BTS, but I was so, it's that itch you want to scratch. You're like, I
Right.
feel like I
Yeah.
could pull it off. Like I feel like I could do it. Again, obviously I could do better, like if it was intended, but it worked out for what it is, and that's what it is. You just can't keep going at it. And the vlogs is the same thing, right? For yourself, you do it by yourself, you do it with friends,
Yeah.
even like just hanging out, whatever. I don't know, like I'm just envisioning things. I'm trying to see if I could do it with other creatives, but I also prefer being behind the camera, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Totally get
yeah,
that.
but that's a cool idea. I like that, and I would definitely push
Yeah.
for that. I think that's your next
Yeah.
venture.
No, that's fun. Well, I was gonna do just before too. Before I moved, so I was doing that with Jasenia, and we had that, and we were gonna continue doing that. But then I had my other friend. Her and I were talking, and we went as far as to like we had like a set. We bought all the equipment. We had everything. We were gonna do a podcast.
Oh wow.
And that summer, I was gonna go to Windsor, but she was moving to Mexico, and she actually is still living in Mexico, like to this
Oh
moment.
my god. Wow,
But she
it's a
completely
change.
moved. Yeah, and so obviously that idea died really quick. But there was something that I was talking about with her too, and I was like, I feel like we can make it work too. Like that's kind of cool. Like we're in different parts of the world. You know what I mean? Like that could be cool to like have a podcast with someone else who's like, but again, who knows? But that's just trying to say how like I kind of I grab for straws wherever I can. Like I'm down for whatever kind of creative or fun
Yeah,
thing
and
to
that's
do,
why I
because I find that's
suggested.
where I
Yeah.
like get excited. Yeah, exactly. Because that would be fun to me. You know what I mean? But
That's
if you
why I
were like, hey, you
suggested the
want to come to the
idea.
office and sort through some paperwork, I'd be like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
you're on
yeah,
your
no,
own.
screw that. I'm the same way, Jesse, and that's why,
Yeah.
I was like, when you were telling me about the vlogs, I was just envisioning, the possibilities of it, right? And then like you said, like you're not 16-year-olds, right? So it's like, what are you gonna do? Like makeup tutorials and like talk about your day. But there's ways in which you can do it. I don't know how these guys do it. I think they live more exciting lives. But
Yeah, right.
you just gotta because like they go to parties and like they also have like groups and stuff. But I think the key is like, David Dobrik, right?
Of
Like
course,
that's on an
yeah.
extreme. But what I'm saying
That,
is
yeah,
like
I was gonna say that's an extreme because he gets so many things sponsored and like he's able to pay for things to
he has
make
a lot
the
of
videos that
fun
he
stuff.
makes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the essence of it, because I always look at like the nitty gritty, like what boil it down to, like why do people love it? Because there's a reason why people love it is he's just with a bunch of people.
It's his
And they're
friend group.
just, yeah, it's his friends.
You're
They're just shooting
infatuated
the
with the friend
shit.
group.
You're infatuated, yeah.
Exactly.
And you feel like you're part of the joke, like
You're a part of their,
you're part of the
exactly.
club,
You're like
right? And
with
it's the way
them.
it's shot too, right? Like you feel like you're peering in, right? 2022, like, we're already established, just kind of go with the flow person. Pandemics clearly had an impact on you. Anything you're looking forward to? Anything you're optimistic about? You have any goals set for this year?
Oh my God, making me sound bad. No. Listen,
Hey, it's
here's my
nothing.
thing. I find that when I give myself expectation to a certain degree, I just set myself up for failure. And the reason I do that is because if I don't hit every tick,
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I fulfilled 9 of the 10. If I didn't get that 10th thing, I'm mad at myself. And I'm like, I can't believe I didn't do that. So instead, I just decided I'm just gonna go with it. For this year, honestly, I had plans. What I really wanted to do just before like everything kind of went in lockdown full force, I really wanted to move to Australia. That's like always been something I wanted to do,
Wow.
at least just to try it out, even if it was just for like 3 months.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to try it out. Just always been kind of like, obsessed with that a little, like that idea a little bit. But I can't, obviously, just because they're in lockdown and we're in lockdown. So that idea is kind of out of the window. So what I decided for this year is because I can't really do the things that I wanted to do. So I want to do like more like road trips. I really like driving. So I think I'm going to do that and make money. I don't have any expectations this year just because like, honestly, like the last few
You
years
never
have just
know.
been such a
Yeah.
hit. Yeah, it's just been such a hit. I wanted to do so much these last few years. And then obviously like as we get older, I'm kind of like, fuck, I feel like the last 3 years have been kind of a waste
Yeah.
in a sense. And I know that they haven't because they're all adding
Yeah.
up to other things. But for me, I'm just like, I'm not at a place that I want to be. You know what I mean? Like we were talking, like we see so many people who are like married with kids, and not necessarily that's not what I want right now. I don't want to
Yeah.
be married with kids, but it's just it feels like I'm much more behind than I
Yeah,
should be.
trust me.
And I get it. Like
Yeah.
we're all on our own paths, and I totally know that too. But it does hit me sometimes. So I just said like this year, all I want to do is just be kind to myself, and like whatever ends up happening this year happens. I don't really necessarily have any like definite goals that I want, but I do want to try and whatever idea I come up with, at least pursue to some capacity. So maybe I don't do it like full
Yeah.
force, but like if I come up with like a clothing idea, hey, let's see if people like it. Let's make a couple, see if they buy. Don't like it, it is what it is. If I want to do a video, make a couple videos. People like it, they do. If they don't, they don't. Like just kind of go with the flow this year. So it's not
Yeah,
really a
no,
good answer
100%.
for you. Sorry, but
Yeah, no, it was
it's
exactly
true.
what I was looking for. And the reason why I asked, in all seriousness, is the reason why I asked these questions is because I'm curious as to your approach. Like if you have the same attitude as a lot of people, like for me, I'm different. I always found like myself maybe being weird, where it's like, how do you not have goals, especially like your line of profession? Like you should know like what you want to do by the end of the year, like
Right.
get this amount of subscribers, or like make a short or make a feature. And I do,
Right.
have these goals. Like, okay, like I have things that I visualize and I plan ahead. But to have like goals, like, you hear people writing down like a list of things they want to accomplish. Like that makes me all nervous because life's not about that. As proven with
Right.
not only just the pandemic, just, I don't know, maybe it's just my life. Things happen, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. And I know that I would kick myself saying, oh, I didn't accomplish this. It's written down. Like that means it should have happened. It's like, no, it's like you have like, you always put the big goal, like for me, right? Like the dream is the goal, right? And
Right.
you do all the things you can in the year. And as long as you wake up every day with that attitude, with that intention, you can't fall short. So for yourself, it's the same concept, right? Like, even though you don't know exactly what your dream is, you're doing things that service you becoming a better individual. And I think that's
Right.
that's what to take away from it, right? So you and I see,
things that are more so fulfilling. Yeah.
we see eye to eye. We're the same way, for sure, because there's people telling me like, yeah, I got to get like 10,000 subscribers by this. I'm like, no, I'm like, I don't work like that. It's like I make my
Yeah.
content as long as I'm improving my content, right? Like there's certain goals, for example, like I wanted my thumbnails to be different, or I wanted, that intro.
Right.
Did you see that podcast intro?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So that podcast intro. So I made that because I always wanted to have like an intro, right? Like something
Right.
to commemorate the year that I had with all the guests, and got some great reception. I'm really happy about that. But that was something that was like a mini goal of mine. You know what I mean? It's not something like I
Right.
wrote down and like I made it happen. It's like, no, it's like, it's just something in my head. Like it has to be done. You know what I mean?
But I feel like it's easier for you to have these little goals because you already have like kind of like the framework, and now you're
Right.
able to build off that. Whereas like I'm kind of putting myself always back to like square one. So
Mm,
it's like I have these things that I do. So like just the two of us, like we had that stuff, and I could have had like goals within that to like kind of progress it. And like, we were making TikToks, we were making other things, like we were kind of like expanding it out into different things.
Yeah.
But that's not happening anymore. So now I'm kind of back at square one with the next venture. And then I do a little bit with it, and then I kind of bring myself back. So it's not necessarily that I don't have like goals and I'm not goal driven, but I'm like extremely ambitious. I know what I want as my end goal in life. Like I know like what I want my like lifestyle to be necessary, like so to speak, I guess. Like it's just like I know what my life is gonna look like. I just don't know how I'm gonna get there and how I'm gonna get it. So that's kind of what's hard for me. So it's like, see, for you, like where you could say like, oh, I want to be, maybe I want to ask like better questions during like no shade, but like
Yeah,
I'm saying, like,
yeah,
maybe
sure.
maybe that's something that you want like during like your
Yeah.
podcast, or how you have your intro, things like that. I don't really have a framework right now, so it's hard
Yeah.
for me to have these like little things to like be excited about or like get better at. So that's why
Mhm.
if I say like I just want to be kinder to myself, because that's something to be better at, because I'm really hard on myself. Like if I don't hit stuff that I want, I'm like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm like, oh, you suck. Like, what are you even doing? Like,
Wow.
what have
Yeah.
you been
No,
doing this whole
hey,
time? Like, it's bad.
same way. Yeah, I know. It's I never got that impression from you, but then again, we were
Really?
kids, right? Like no, I'm
Yeah,
serious.
true.
Like we like obviously, we're all critical to some degree, but I never really, you always had such a lighthearted, fun attitude,
Fake it
right?
till you
Like
make it. Fake it.
fake it till
Well,
you
yeah, because I
make
don't
it.
want to
That's
show.
true.
I don't want
But
to
I was
show
gonna
people
say
that,
we're also
right?
we're also kids. Like if you think about it, Jesse,
Yeah.
like think about
No,
the
I've
things
always
that
been
we
like
were.
that though.
Oh,
I've
really?
always
Like
been like that
just
now. Oh
show
my
that
God,
side,
yeah.
but then on the inside, it's like
Dude, are you kidding me? I'd like write something like a short story in like in like writing or whatever, like in our
yeah,
English class, and I'd like write something and I'd be so like excited. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna hit. I
yeah.
get like an 87, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I get a 90?
What?
Like,
Right.
why? Who
You're one of
cares?
those.
That's never
Yeah.
gonna like, oh my
I
God, like,
know.
but I
It's
would never
true.
say it outwardly. I'd be like, oh, that's good. But in my head, I'm like, you suck. Like, what are you doing? So
Yeah,
like
but that's school that
every
conditions
single
us. Don't even
time.
get me started on that.
No, but I'm saying like when things that I was like, don't get
I
me
know.
wrong, like on certain assignments where you just kind of like plagiarize and you're like, yeah, that was
Yeah.
good, that's nice, put that in. I'm saying like the things that I actually,
Yeah.
what was that? I don't know what that class was called. I'm calling it writing,
Writer's
but
craft?
writer's craft. That's
You
what
know
it
what's
was.
funny? I
Yeah,
took that same
class.
class, but you weren't in my class.
No, I was with all I remember my class for writer's craft was Olivia Stadler. Loved, like she made that
Yeah.
class like 100
Like
for me
fun
because it
and
was
jokes.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
She
because
was
like
in
we
my
just
art
would make jokes.
classes.
Yeah,
She was
and then
very
like
artistic.
our exactly, and then
Yeah.
like our writing, whenever we would write stuff, like it was
Mhm.
just memorable for me because it was funny. So that's what I'm saying, like that class, because that's where
Yeah.
like we got to like write personal stuff. So when I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna hit, like this is like really good, I'm passionate on this, and then it wouldn't really perform to the way that I wanted it to, I'd be so hard on myself. But I would pretend that I didn't care. Like I kind of do that in life. I pretend that I don't care, but
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
I
Like
care.
the best is those people that are like, I
I
don't give a
care.
fuck, I don't give a fuck. And it's like those are the
Right?
people that really give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know those people that
Me?
don't give a fuck, they're like foaming at them. No, but like you don't actually like
Yeah.
are boast about, like you know what I'm
Doesn't
talking
even
about?
matter. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, yeah. Don't give a fuck.
It doesn't
You know?
even matter in years. Yeah.
Everyone's like,
Oh my
especially the
God.
guys, all the macho guys. Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they were the guys who thought the gym class was the Olympics, where you're like, okay,
Oh my god,
relax.
don't even get me
Like,
started. I remember I
your
was one of
beep
those
test is fine. Like, you're gonna be okay. Don't worry. Like,
that
oh my
lunches.
God.
Yo, how much you lift? I'm like, can we talk about like the movie we saw last night? Or what?
How much you lift? They're like
Remember
lifting
that?
chairs in the cab.
There was a year, grade 10. I still remember every lunch for 10
Right.
months was about gym. The gym,
Really?
someone didn't get a membership, or who the fuck's driving to our next, who's coming to lift weights with us.
Really?
It
The
was
girls did not
literally
talk
every,
about that.
yeah, well, it's just, yeah.
We didn't care.
And then it just disappeared. And then when weight training came out, that's when it made a return. That was like, oh no, not this again. And everyone was
Right.
talking. Yeah. And then people would be like, yo, Calderon, why don't you take weight training like a man? And I'm like, I prefer the
Right.
arts.
You're like, all I want to lift is a camera. You're
Yeah,
like, leave me alone.
pretty much. Yeah. I was actually like, so I'm like, is anyone, because I was watching, you have to understand, I was watching Entourage and then I was going to high school, right?
Mhm.
So in my
I love
world, I'm
Entourage.
saying,
Oh my God, we used to watch that at your house.
yeah. So hold on.
You
So
remember? Holy,
yes,
I forgot that was a
I
thing that
know
we
that was our
watched.
favorite. That was our
Wow.
favorite show. But I'm saying is like,
Right.
you're watching Entourage as like a 15-year-old and then you go to school and it's like, why aren't people talking about movie? Like, don't make people, because I thought that was sexy, like going to the movies,
Right.
making it as an actor or director, like that's
Right.
what like girls would want probably, right? And it's like, no, it's like everyone's talking about the gym and the weights
Yeah.
and the lifting.
Or
you
that
know what I
little
mean?
weight room that we had in like
Yeah, that's what I'm
SAE,
trying
and
to
they just like
say.
chill in
Yeah.
there, like, okay, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like
So
people,
true.
yeah, you just said it. People would skip class and go there because no one had a
Right.
Good Life membership back in the day. And they would just go there and work out with like the tea. And do you remember the tea? That's
Right.
another thing that I find hilarious. Because you get older, right? Like we're 27 now. And
Yeah.
you look back and you're like, teachers would compete with like teenagers, like kids.
Right.
Like they're kids.
Right.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
but you know what? No shade, because like me too. When I was in my grade 6, 7 class,
Yeah?
when I was in my LTO, oh my God, yeah, it's on. Because sometimes they make you, you go like,
I
I
think I
gotta
know
show
what you
you.
mean,
Like
yeah.
I might be old, but like I still can keep up.
Yeah,
We had a
dodgeball?
track. right at him. I'm like, you're out. I don't go. I'm with my like kindergartners. They're playing octopus, trying to tag me. I'm sprinting, hopping over kids. I'm
That's
like, you're not tagging me. Like I'm
Yeah.
not going easy on you. No, but we had a track in the back of our school, and we did like a relay race with the students. So they were like, oh, you have to be on our team because like it's odd numbers. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. Like you're not gonna like, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm doing this. So we're all like lined up, whatever. And you have to see me like booking it. I don't care. I'm like, and like these are like literally like 10-year-olds, and I'm booking it with them. One kid passes out, like he's like falls on the floor, trips. I'm the teacher. I should be like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, keep going, get the baton. You got to go. Like, we have to win this race. And then at the end, we're like, hey, are you good? Yeah, you lost. So probably not. But like, is your knee okay? Like, just kind of like that. But I was literally like that. I'm that teacher.
You're
Like,
competitive. Yeah.
I'm
I love
that
it.
weird. Yeah. But you were just making fun of those teachers. So
Well, no. Well, the thing, I don't know how nowadays what you can say, right? But for me, it's like a girl, like I had women teachers that I didn't mind, like, trying to upstage, especially like the guys that were trying to like, I'm talking about like, there was a lot of like guy teachers that you just like laugh, like when you look back, because the age difference, do you know what I'm talking about? Because again, I'm 27, so I have a cousin that's like 14, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember he was like, and don't get me wrong, I'm the same way, like, oh, I'll DQ, like, who's this kid trying to, but then I take a step back and I'm like, oh my God, like this guy's like 14, like calm down, like I don't really care, right? But I'm just saying, going back, not to razz on them, but it's like, think about that, like they were like older than us, and they were like
I guess if they're
I'll
doing
show
it seriously,
you how to lift weights.
Right.
But it's all good. It's all
right,
good.
right. You're like, careful, you're developed, relax.
Listen, it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of entertaining stories, especially that Green Lantern shirt. May it rest in peace.
I hate you. May it rest in peace.
Listen, like, do you have a urn for it? Yeah, a little.
I hate you
that it
so
roasted.
Yeah, it sits on my mantle. It sits actually in a Green Lantern.
With Ryan Reynolds' face on it.
In a Green Lantern on the fireplace.
I imagine you having a blog of like why Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds was the best one.
Never mind your shrine of me. I have a shrine of like Ryan Reynolds as like the Green Lantern. I never even watched that, man. I tell you.
Listen, I'm gonna have to send you the copy. No streaming in my world. I just send you DVDs.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Old school. But yeah, great conversation as always. It's amazing how we just pick up where we left off, huh? Like
literally.
It's like been what, 10 years? Crazy.
I know.
But
oh my God, yeah, true.
I know, it's just life gets in the way, like just so much going on. But it's too bad. We should keep in touch more, Definitely always,
for real.
welcome. Yeah, always welcome to come back on the podcast.
Fun. I mean, I'm not as creative as half the people you have on here, but I'm down to come back.
No, I'm saying especially when you like have a project that you're kind of starting and you're really excited about or passionate about, you want to talk about.
Yeah.
I love it. For you to come on.
Exciting.
Yeah, Jessie. So really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and we'll talk soon.